Welcome to Pick Money, the podcast, episode 52. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing. And I hope that every week I talk about something that you can use to help you in your career, in your business, and in your entrepreneurial journey, in your sales, whatever it is you're doing, in your job, and your desire to get promoted, you're negotiating a contract, whatever it is. So today on Pick Money, we're going to talk about the art of recruiting. Now, before you go, wait a minute, I sell something. Let me tune you out real quick. Let me help you as we start to talk about this, right? The thing for me when I was in real estate, life insurance, any industry that I knew that I could replicate or duplicate what I was doing, and I could get more people products, family taken care of in life insurance, a great agent to work with them to buy or sell their home. Why would I not build a team? So I wanted to build a team. Now, you have to decide, do I want to build a team? That's up to you. At the end of the day, I think you have to decide. It's like anything else. There are people like, I love to sell, I love to recruit, I love to do both. I don't want to do either. But as you're building your business, whether you're recruiting people to work with you, whether you're recruiting agents, whether it's staffing, you really need to start to understand, how do I build an organization? And I from a recruiting standpoint, what I can tell you is what's been effective for me. And I built big distributions that had a lot of agents. And I can also tell you what didn't work, because I think that's just as important, right? And I wasn't, just to give you some background, nobody ever approached me to do network marketing, just so you know that. It's like when people were like, man, did you do this? Did you do that? Were you in this organization? I'm like, dude, nobody ever approached me to do that. And I really don't know, honestly. I used to ask people that were building their businesses. I'm like, hey, how come you never talked to me? They're like, well, I thought you were making money. I'm like, well, I was making money. I was in real estate. I was buying houses, selling houses. I was building houses. I was making money. I had my job at the state. But the reality was, why wouldn't you approach me? And a lot of them were like, well, we didn't think you'd be interested. I'm like, well, isn't that the whole concept of recruiting? You don't know if I'm interested if you don't talk to me and you don't give me a shot to tell you I'm interested or not. What I see people do, the three biggest reasons I see people fail in recruiting is they're uncomfortable to talk to people that they think are doing better than them, which I never was. They were uncomfortable to do that. Number two, they were worried in general about talking to anybody about their business opportunity, because they were uncomfortable what those people would say about them. So they were automatically those guys and girls that are making more money than me, I'm not going to talk to them. Okay, well, that's not going to help you. Number two is, I don't know if I really want to talk to anybody for that matter, because they're going to ask me what I'm doing, and maybe they don't like what I'm doing, and maybe they judge what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, that's weird, because only God can judge you. So I okay, got it. And number three, they're typically worried that they don't know who will be successful. And that's valid, by the way. The third is valid. It shouldn't stop you from recruiting, but the third is valid. Number one, they're uncomfortable talking to somebody making more money than them. Number two, they're worried about talking to anybody because they think that people are going to judge them and talk junk about them. And number three, they're like, but I don't know if they're going to do it. And that's where you kind of realize the difference between sales and recruiting. Salespeople typically that achieve well love the fact that they can sell and make money pretty quickly, right? So they can buy leads, they can call clients, they can go see clients, and they can do that on a Monday and get paid pretty quickly. When you're recruiting, if you try to recruit me or you contact me on a Monday, you're not going to get paid with me or off of my efforts in a day. I got to get licensed if the product requires me to have a license. I got to get trained. I got to start making sales. And for me, I was never ever recruiting based on what I was going to make. Never. I just wasn't. I'm sorry that when I recruited Gordon, he was my first agent when I got into life insurance. When I recruited my buddy Meaike, my first agent in real estate, I recruited them because they let me know they were in a situation where they'd like to make more money. Now, Meaike's and Gordon's financial situations were different, but they were both like, hey, I have an interest. I had to have an interest. How did I know they had an interest? I asked them. Now, the funny thing about Gordon was everybody was like, man, I'm definitely interested. Nobody's ever approached me about this. And I'm like, that's because you make good money. and they assumed you wouldn't be interested, but he was interested in building a passive income. He wanted cash flow. He was like, I would like multiple streams of income for my family. I'm interested. So for me, and then Meike's deal was like, I need to make active income right away. So one guy was like, hey, I'd love to do it. I want to build a team. I don't know if I'll be in the sales deal. I'm already making a lot of money over here doing what I'm doing as an attorney. My other guy is like, hey, dude, I'm working my job. I'm working my ass off, and I'm trying to make money. So I would be interested in finding another way to make, if I'm already working hard, to work hard and make more money. But I wasn't, my focus wasn't, what am I going to make? My focus was like, these are friends of mine. I know them. They want to make extra money for their families. Why would I not approach them and share what I do? And I think when you're doing that, it alleviates, you'll talk to anybody, whether they're making more money than you or not. You're not worried about what they're going to say because your intent is, I want you to make more money. If you're mad at me for trying to help you make more money, that's on you. Like, you know what I mean? And the last one is, well, what if they're not successful? Okay, but that's not, I can't hang everything on whether they're not successful. My job is to go ahead and just recruit as many people as I can. My job is to put you in a position to win. And I think when you look at recruiting, a lot of people are really uncomfortable with it because they don't know how to start the conversation. They feel like maybe they're going to be like, hey, I'm responsible for what they do. No, you're responsible for introducing them to the opportunity that you have and giving them all the tools to be successful. You're not going to be, if they succeed, this is what you need to tell yourself when you're recruiting. If the people you recruit succeed, please don't take credit for it. Please don't. Like, you gave them the tools. They went and did the work and had the success. They fought through it. They dealt with the ups and downs. They dealt with the emotional roller coaster it can be, and they persevered. That's because they did good. Good for them. Don't take credit for it. Like, you shouldn't be taking either one of them. And a lot of folks want to take the credit and never the blame. It's like, okay, well, that's just odd. Like, that they just went ahead and did it. If I introduced you to real estate and I gave you all the tools, all of you all at the same time, and these three guys went ahead and became successful, I did not take the credit for that. Matter of fact, that would mean my system's not replicatable and duplicatable. If I was like, oh my God, look at that's because of what I did. I got them going. I did this. I can be proud of myself for working hard. I can go, hey, thanks for thanking me, but you went ahead and did the work. And when you're recruiting and you're leading, your job when the light is shined on you is to shine it on somebody else. Your job's not to go, yeah, no, look at me, I'm really good. Your job is to go, hey man, like, we got a system that can work for anybody if they go to work. I'm really proud of Tom and Tim. They just went and did the work. So, and also what that says is anybody can do this. So a lot of times when people are trying to build their business, they're so focused on the recognition for themselves that it basically lets everybody else know, or it could let people know, hey, you can't do it. It's like, well, why can't he do it? Well, they only did it because they look at how great they are, look how great I am, and together our greatness allowed them to do it. No, you're a human being just like the rest of us. Every one of us was built for greatness, but every one of us is a mess in our own right. We're just trying to work as hard as we can. So it doesn't mean there was any kind of talent they were born with that made them successful. And you didn't do it. They went ahead and did it. You showed them the tools, you initiated everything for them. And then when they were going off track, you're like, hey man, I've gone off track. Don't do that. I tried that. That didn't work. Let's get you back on track. But you've really got to understand that if you're building and recruiting because you want to see other people win, it's going to be hard for people to compete with you. I was so excited about people making money that I recruited. And I've been like that my entire life when I'm building a business. Like, yes, we're going to make money together eventually, but I'm really excited about you making money. Like, I want you to make money. When I recruited all my friends, guys I played ball with, people I knew growing up, I wanted them to do well. I wanted them. Now, why did they trust and follow me? Because I wanted them to do well. My motivation was singular. I want you to do well, Mike. I want you to do well, Gordon. I want y'all to make more money for your family. I want you to build a passive cash flow. And I was able to keep that conviction because my goal was to make you more money. I think when you recruit people for the right reasons, and listen, you're a capitalist. Like, you're going to make some money when they go. Nobody's blaming anybody for that. But if your only focus in the world is, I'm going to recruit this many people, and if I recruit this many, I make this much. Hey, you're going to make money. But what if I recruit this many people, we'll sell this much of the product, they will make this much money on average. And as a result of them making money, we'll make money together. That is the ultimate recruiting mindset. And I think when your mindset's different than that, it's going to be hard for you to compete. I was wanting people to change their lives, and I was really excited that I had an opportunity to introduce them to introduce them to, rather, where they can go make money for themselves and their family. Once I had that, everything changed. Literally everything changed. So you've really got to decide, why am I recruiting? Well, I want to make money. And I get it, but do you have a desire to see other people win? And you have to ask yourself that. Are you going to be excited to see other people win? Are you going to be motivated when you see what they're doing for their families? Will that get you more excited to hire more people? And can you take your excitement and the feeling you have and transfer it? The greatest I ever felt about my business was the first time I watched somebody I recruited go sell something and get paid. Because I thought to myself, man, like, they did the work, but I introduced them to it, plugged them into the system, got them moving, and they just went and made, $1,111 for their family. Man, that guy in his first month just made $18,412 for his family. And he did the work, but I introduced him to the opportunity, got him all the tools, got him all the training, and worked hard when he was getting off track to keep him on track. And I think that if that's you, man, you build something massive. You also have to understand that it is a responsibility when you recruit, and you have to know that. So that's why I say to people all the time, I'm telling you, nobody can judge you. If I got 27 people and 2 of them are like, or 8 of them or 12 of them are like, hey, do not want to recruit, I'm like, cool. Like, I don't go, what's wrong with you? What's your problem? Okay. I want to help the people do what they want to do. Why did I recruit? I wanted to help as many people as I could. I wanted to get the product out. When I got life insurance, I'm like, man, we sell life insurance. It protects families in like their darkest times, like what they're going through when there's a death, and it helps provide if there's like a significant critical illness. Like, I was excited about providing protection, and I knew I could only get to so many people. So I'm like, if I hire more people, we collectively can get to more people. So I was excited. And I think that, for me, that passion always came through. What should you say to somebody when you're trying to recruit them? It depends on how you know them and what they're currently doing. So when I'm out and I see somebody at a restaurant and the guy brings me food, first of all, I'm interested in what people do. How long you worked here, man? A year. Cool. How's it been to you? I think that's a great, gauging where they are question. How's it been to you? It's been great. I love it. Best job I ever had in my life. I go, dude, that's awesome. And then I proceed and order my food and have a good dinner. Sorry. If you're like, what do you say to him? I proceed to have a great dinner. I'm like, let me get some food. Let me give him a good tip. Let me thank him. The guy's out of his mind with his job. Best job he's ever had in his life, and he's happy. Great. Now, what I get 75% of the time is, it's not bad. It's a job. They don't usually tell me how terrible it is. I'm ordering food there, or it's a valet in their parking car, whatever, wherever I'm at. I'm at a game, somebody's working there. There's a guy coaching. There's a guy umpiring. Whatever it is I'm doing. How long you been doing this for, man? This period of time. And when I get, it's a job, I go, yeah, I hear you, man. What do you like the most about it? What do you like the least about it? And they tell me. If I get a feeling after asking a couple questions, man, this guy's probably open to making some extra money, I go, let me ask you something. If I had an opportunity where you could work your own schedule out of your house and make the money you want to make, would you be interested doing at least part-time or getting the information? 99 out of 100 times they're like, yeah, dude, I'm interested. I'm like, well, let me grab your phone number. I'll send you a text. DM me here. I'll get one of the guys in my office to send you the information over. I'll get you the info on what we do. Take a look at what we do and let me know if you'd be interested. That's what I think you should do with everybody you meet. I wish somebody did that to me when I was working at UPS. I loved UPS, but I worked 60 hours a week. It was based in seniority. I did not make top rate, from a salary standpoint. I was making, I thought I was making good money, but there was a lot more money to be made out there. I was working a lot of hours, was never, ever home. So I think for me, but nobody ever asked me. And I delivered some packages to some people that had really nice houses, and they seemed like they were always home. But nobody was like, hey, man, how long have you been working at UPS? 2 years. How do you like it? I would have said it's a job. That's what I would have said. I wouldn't have been like, oh, my gosh, best job ever. I've been like, it's a job, man. I like a good company. Got it. What's the best thing about it, Shawn? I'd be like, the best thing is that I like being out. I like working for myself. That's what I would have said. Like, I have a job, but I'm in the truck by myself delivering packages. I like that part. I get to control what I do. They give me 240 stops for the day, and that's my job. What do you like the least about it, Shawn? My cap. Like, I feel like my income's capped. I feel like, I don't really have control of my future here, and I don't like that guys that have been here 30 years that don't work near as hard as me make so much more money than me. That's what I would have said. That's 100% what I would have said. And then if that person said, hey, if I had, and they went into if I had the opportunity to go ahead and make some, I would have been like, yeah, I'm interested, man. Give me the information. You understand that when you look at take when I got into life insurance, and listen, I've been very blessed. God is great. All the glory to God, 100%. And you look at the distribution that's been built. Dude, that started because a guy named Jim asked me at a property on Yantic Street in Norwich, Connecticut. He was the real estate broker for the agent. I was buying it and representing myself as I was a real estate agent. And after about the second or third time we saw it, because it was a multifamily property, had to get in the different units and make an offer, and I ended up making an offer. I bought the property. He just looked at me one day and he was like, hey, man, are you keeping your options open and making some extra money? It's all he said to me. That's a good one, too. He's like, keeping your options open and make some extra money. I said, absolutely. It depends. He, in turn, said, depends on what? I thought that was a really good question. Like, okay, here's a closing question, Shawn. It depends. Depends on what? That's a good closing question. Depends on what? I said, depends on what it is, what kind of money I could make, and if I'd enjoy doing it, to be honest with you. And he's like, all right, do you like helping people? I said, yes. I'm a social worker by trade. That's what I've been doing for 14 years. Yeah, I love it. And he said, we help people. And he went into talking about the life insurance industry. I was like, how do I get started? He's like, you need to get your license online. I said, can you send me the link? He did. I went home that night and got in a class. But the guy looked at me and said, hey, keeping your options open and make some extra money. Nobody had ever recruited me into life insurance. Real estate, I found on my own. I recruited myself. I decided to get a real estate license. Then once I got my license, every broker started reaching out to me. Then once I started getting good, they all tried to recruit me wherever I worked at. But nobody reached out to me and was like, hey, try this as a career. So you have to understand that there's a lot of people out there like me. I was making, pretty good money between real estate, what I was I was managing a lot of properties, my properties. I had a lot of rent coming in. I did pretty decent in my cash flow real estate. I had my job at the state of Connecticut that I worked full time that I made pretty good money at back then, without a doubt. But he asked me, and it's funny because when I got involved, I recruited everybody right away. I had like 55, 60 people fast. And I was like the only one the guy hired. And he was like, man, what do you do? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do I do? I don't understand it. He's like, I don't understand, Shawn. I'm like, how did you recruit so many people? I don't get it. How did you recruit so many people? And I'm like, I just asked everybody. I asked everybody that I knew. Why would I not? And he just stopped and I said, but dude, why don't you just do with me with them what you did with me? Why don't you just ask? He goes, well, I don't run into that many people. I go, well, you see people every day, all day. Why don't you start recruiting them? If you would do what you did with me, hey, man, keep your options open, make some extra money outside of what you're currently doing now. That seems like a good pitch to me. It worked on me. It totally worked on me. So, you got to decide, why won't you do it? And then he's like, man, I just don't know. I just think people and basically he was afraid they would judge him. And I was like, dude, God's going to judge all of us, bro. I don't know why you're worried about all these other people. They're going to be judged too. They can't judge us. We can't judge them. Who cares? But he was paralyzed by it. Never built a team, never hired anybody else. He was out of the business pretty quickly, which is unfortunate because I went on to build a pretty big business and he was the one that recruited me. But it was his fear that kept him paralyzed. Then there were other people, once I got in the business after a year, I'm like, why don't you recruit some people? They're like, well, I don't know if they're going to do anything. And I'm like, how do you, why don't you just recruit them? I don't know if they're going to do anything either. I have no idea who's going to do anything. Why don't we just recruit them all and see what's going to happen? He's like, yeah, but if I put the time into it, I won't he wanted instant gratification, sell a policy, get paid. I'm like, I hear you do, but we need more people to help us. And if your friends and family can make money. And he would say stuff like, well, my friends and family don't even listen to me and they don't care. And they think what I'm doing is stupid. I'm like, okay, well, why are you so worried about that part? So I think And the other thing see people do in recruiting is you try to sell yourself and only yourself. Sell the business opportunity you're in, sell the company you work with, talk about what they do. Like there are things that I did that after I got insurance, people started pitching me on all the time. And I still like to listen. I had a lot of guys pitch me on door to door. I'm like, dude, I have leads. Why would I get into door to door? I'm not mad at you. I'm not saying you don't make some money, but I have leads or door to door. Call Tom up, book an appointment, go knock on Tom's door unannounced. Call Tom up, book an appointment. So for me, but I was keeping my options open. I wanted something with leads. I wanted something that's replicatable. I wanted to make good money. I want to provide for my family. I want to help other people provide for their family. And I want to get more product and more homes because I believe in the product. Like I couldn't have believed in it. I can't believe in it any more than I do. It's unbelievable. So I really think you need to start understanding, how do I scale it? How do I recruit? What stops me from recruiting? Why am I afraid to recruit? And what is the worst thing that can happen if you say to somebody, keeping your options open to make some extra money outside of what you currently do now? The worst, what's literally the worst thing they can say? No. They're going to make fun of you? That would just be weird. What do you care? I'd be like, dude, I just asked you a question. That was a lot of emotion. That was just freaking weird. But okay, you could have just said no. That'd been easier. But you know what they're going to do a lot of times? It depends on what it is. I was in a position where I felt pretty good about what I was doing, but I wanted to find a way to make some extra money. Always. I think I developed into an entrepreneur. I was not one early on. I was just doing real estate to do something else. I really wasn't entrepreneurial. I just wasn't focused on building a big business. I was just like trying to make some extra money, man. Have more financial freedom. It's all I wanted. But you've really got to start to understand that if we take the hundreds of millions of people in America and we take 70% of them, give or take, whatever poll you read, that say they are living almost check to check. That means there's a couple 100 million people, okay, that are saying, I'd like to find a way to do something else. If your business opportunity doesn't require them to pay you a ton of money, like if you're like, man, I got an opportunity, you got to give me $100,000. Going to be hard to recruit. I'd stop trying to recruit at that one. Like that's going to be hard. Man, I got an opportunity, but you're going to have to go to school for a year. I mean, I hear you, bro, but like it's a whole year, you know? So you got to think about what are the barriers of entry in what you're recruiting to. I wanted something that everybody had to have, recession-proof. I wanted something that had low barrier of entry. You didn't have to pay a ton of money to do it, and it didn't take long to get started. And I wanted to have something that was unlimited in leads. If you give me those three things, I can recruit the world to do it because it just makes too much sense not to. It makes complete and total sense to recruit to that. So, but again, I think we are watching. If we know there's a couple 100 million people, what are we doing? Even if we take 70% and say, all right, what do I got? I don't know. I got 140 million. Let's go if we had two. I got 210 million. There's 300 million people. That's a lot of people. And I don't think they're lying. I don't think they'd be excited to lie in some kind of survey and go, you know what, I really don't live check to check, but let me mess with the survey. I don't think that's like, when I've lived check to check, I've told the truth about it. I wasn't excited about like saying it. You know what I mean? I wasn't like embarrassed either, but I wasn't like, let me lie about that. Because I was living check to check. So if there's a couple 100 million people in America that need extra money to pay their bills, what are we afraid of? The recruiting pool is so big. What are we afraid of? How much do you care about other people making money? How much do you care about making a difference in the world? Do you understand what it feels like to watch somebody you spoke to and you gave information to and you steered in the right direction, watch them make money for their families? If you don't know the feeling, I'm telling you, it's an unbelievable feeling. It's an amazing feeling. But again, you can't have fear in recruiting. I tried to recruit everybody. I was on a flight when I first got started in the business. Buddy of mine, Dominique, great guy. We're on a flight together. I don't think he'd even recruited an agent. We're like brand new. You know, we probably both got like one suit jacket, you know what I mean, shirt and maybe two ties. And we're traveling across the country to a business meeting. And the guy in front of us, super nice guy, and he starts talking to us. And then he just asks, he says to Dominic, he's like, hey, what do y'all do for a living? And Dom just kind of was like, and it was like kind of all over the place. And it wasn't bad, you know. And the guy looked at me and he said, do you work with him? And I jokingly said I did until he just explained it that way. Now I'm confused. And Dominique laughed. And I said, I'll be really honest with you, man. We work with some of the biggest insurance companies in the country. There are so many families that need help with their life insurance needs that we have an overabundance of leads. And we teach people to go sell life insurance. And then we teach people to build a business while they're selling life insurance as well. They can sell, recruit, do one, do the other, do both. And the outcome is amazing because we protect more families the more people we got. And yes, here's the amount of money you can make per policy. Here's how much you can make in overrides. And here's how bonuses work. And that was it. And I said to Dom, I said, we have a great business. You just need to tell them how great the business is. What's the greatest thing about your business, Shawn? I'd be like, it's recession proof. Like that for me was exciting. I'm like, dude, I got my life insurance license in '08. And for those of you who weren't around, that was a tough time. Market, you know, it was tough, dude, with everything that happened with all of the foreclosures and mortgage derivatives and everything that was happening on Wall Street. That was bad. Like it was bad. But at the end of the day, the funny thing was, the ironic thing, what funny was the business I got into in '08, I really couldn't even tell you that things weren't going well in '08 because I was in a life insurance business. Real estate had done what it did, but the life and more, that's when I started. People were like, man, how you doing? I'm like, I don't know. Like a lot of people want life insurance, dude. Like they're worried about the market. They're worried about the situation. I have as much in savings and they like really want the life insurance. So I'm like, I'm really busy, dude. It's going really, really well. And I think that when I started doing that, everything changed, you know, because it made me realize for the first time in my life, I was like, man, I'm really not tied to the way the market turns, interest rates, who's in office. And I liked that feeling. And you should have something, you should know your business. And there should be one or two or three things that are so amazing about your business that you're like, dude, this is the greatest business in the world. I felt great about real estate, you know. I felt great about the rental market post '08. I felt bad for everybody that wasn't diversified in real estate and had gotten to some of these communities that went up, you know, 30, 40, 50, 80, 100, 120% in such a short window of time. They could never sustain those values were never real, and they couldn't sustain them. So I watched a lot of good people get hurt really bad, you know. But it taught me a lot about business. It taught me the power of being diversified in business, and you know, I said, I'm going to find something that's recession-proof. And by accident, because this guy just asked me, Jim, I wasn't asking Jim for an opportunity. I didn't even know what it was. It could have been something else. It would have been a way to make extra money I would have looked into, but it happened to be life insurance. But you need to make sure you love the business you're in. You can recruit to the business you're in. You can utilize the business to recruit to it. And you have to understand the power of what you say to people. And the reality is all you're doing is asking questions. But if you hire 20, 30, 40, 50 people, you can make a passive income that's 2 to 3 times greater than the income you're making annually right now, working 50, 60 hours at your job. That's a pretty amazing deal. You know, there's a lot to build. There's a lot, and that's a conversation for a different day here in Pick Money. There's a lot to managing a team. There's a lot to building a team. There's a lot to the ROI. There's a lot to your P&Ls. There's a lot to all of that, managing your risk. There's a lot to it. And if you all have any questions at all about recruiting or anything else, drop them in there, man. I'll react. I will answer them for you. But I'm letting you know that if your goal in recruiting, your heart for recruiting is to see other people make money and make a difference in their lives, I think you'll be blown away at how many people you'll find that want to be in business with you. And as long as you can shoot them straight, you're doing the work that you're asking them to do. That's the other thing. Like, are you willing to work? Like, if you're already doing the work, why is it so hard to recruit people to do what you're already doing? You're not asking them to do anything you're not already doing, you're not willing to do. And understand how to talk to people, avoid the fears. And you've got to understand that the minute you start doing anything differently to other people and you start trying to recruit anybody to do anything, it's a threat to the people that are not doing it. So if you recruit a buddy of yours who works at a company and 4 more of your buddies work at the same company, they're probably not pulling for that dude to do well. They're like, he'll be back. That thing sounds too good to be true. They're not pulling for the dude. And that's okay. It's okay if they talk junk about what you're doing. It's okay to talk junk about you. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Your deal is to persevere. And if you can just persevere and not worry about the judgment, bring more people to your opportunity, be powerful and strong in your recruiting. If it's not a good fit for somebody, all they have to do is say no. You don't need to listen to them run their mouths for 25 minutes. No is fine. I go, dude, no is fine. I get it. Well, I bet a lot of people, dude, no is fine. There's a lot of drama for you to say no. Are you interested in making some extra money? No, I'm not. Cool. Just say no, bro. You do not need to let somebody terrorize you because you're trying to help them make extra money. But there's a couple 100 million people in America that are saying, you know what? I'm living about check to check. So if you have an opportunity, a legitimate opportunity that you're involved in that can help them change their lives and help them put some distance between financial stress in themselves, then you should work your ass off to recruit them. Talk to everybody. Warm market, cold market. Cold market's a story for a different day. Social media, all the things you're doing. But I will promise you, there are so many people in the country that need your help. You just got to ask them. But you damn got to ask them. You don't know if that guy that's waiting on you at the restaurant is trying to find a way to pay his rent or his mortgage. You don't know what's going on with his family. And all of a sudden you ask a couple questions about the job. He's working with you and makes himself another couple $1,000s extra a month, which gives him the breathing room to survive. That's life-changing. Recruiting is changing lives. So I hope this helps. I appreciate your support. Appreciate you being on. We'll see you next week, same time. If you have any questions, please drop them in here. I'll answer them for you next week. See you guys.